I was scared to jump into business coaching, but I knew in my gut that that was the thing that I was like, I could not stop consuming it. And your audience will come with you or they won't. It doesn't matter. You would just have to trust your gut and test it. And if it doesn't work, you can always go back. Like, forget what other people think. No one's going to think you're flaky or whatever. Like, the reason people are not doing what they want to do is because they're afraid other people are judging them.
Welcome to the Badass Manifester podcast, keeping you inspired with high vibe content, bringing you the best manifestation and mindset tools, teachings, interviews, and answering questions to help empower you to get out of your own way and take massive action to make magic your everyday normal. I'm your host, Ashley Gordon, spiritual life and manifestation coach, helping women and spiritual entrepreneurs manifest more impact, influence, and income. It is my purpose and pleasure to help you wake up to the badass creator that you are. Let's do this. Oh man, I am so stoked for this episode because I brought on one of my soul sisters, one of my biz besties, Jen Casey. If you don't know her, I feel bad for you because she's truly amazing in every single way, and she has helped me so much on my journey of becoming the successful entrepreneur that I am today. Jen is a business strategy coach. She is the creator of the Inner Boss brand and Inner Boss podcast, and she is truly an example of what she teaches. She has taught me so much in how to grow a successful business, and it starts with really understanding that I have a unique method, and she helped me develop my unique method. And she helped me do that because she has a brain-based method to sell, build, and effectively run profitable group coaching programs. And if you are someone that feels like, you want to switch from one-to-one coaching if you're a coach and run group coaching programs, but you're kind of afraid no one will join, or it'll be too hard, or you'll be making less in sales, or you just don't know where to start, because there's so many different ideas and strategies out there and you feel pulled in different directions and you need guidance and a system, I'm telling you, this program that she runs has changed my business. It's called Programs That Profit. And right now, this really wasn't planned for this podcast to come out on this date. And for the next week, her cart is open. So if you are interested in learning more about this program, I would just go right to the show notes and click the link. Because if you are anything like me and you've been in this business for any length of time, you've already discovered that throwing out random offers or only offering one-on-one coaching is not sustainable, it's not scalable, and it's not serving at the highest level. And that's really where I was. And learning her method and going through this program myself, it has literally created 20K plus months in my business. So if you are a coach, or if you're thinking about becoming a coach, or if you're thinking about putting together a group coaching program, you don't even have to be a coach. You can literally teach a group coaching program on so many different things. I highly recommend that right now you pause this, go click the link in my bio, enroll in Programs That Profit, and you can thank me later when you've created the most epic group coaching program that you literally dreamed of. Or maybe you didn't even know that you dreamed of it yet. Maybe it's the answer to your prayers. But I promise that you will be so happy that you did. So enjoy today's episode, my friends. I can't wait for you to listen to it. Make sure that you tag at Hey Jen Casey and at Manifest with Ash and tell us what your favorite part was. We got Jen Casey in the house. I am so excited to have you again on the Badass Manifester podcast. Welcome to the shizzle.
The shizzle. We're here in the shizzle.
With my nizzle. No, I'm really excited that you're here. It's about freaking time. Let's just say that, like, for this interview to get going. But for those of you who maybe don't know Jen yet, which I highly doubt, but if you don't, y'all need to go know her right now. I'm so happy that you're here. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling so good. Anytime I get to sit down and hang out with you, I always just feel so freaking high vibe.
Aw, thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited. So will you just briefly not briefly, scratch that. Will you just share who you are, what you do, and how you got to where you are today?
Absolutely. Hi, guys. So I'm Jen Casey. I'm a business strategy coach and the host of the Inner Boss podcast. And with a brain-based kind of psychology-backed approach to business, I teach online coaches how to build, sell, and effectively run profitable group programs. So that is what I do. And things kind of got started for me, probably like many of you. I kind of accidentally stumbled into entrepreneurship. Back in 2011, I was a performer and I was looking for ways to make money that didn't involve me being behind a bar or wearing an apron. So I kind of just accidentally stumbled into network marketing, very much ran it like a hobby for a couple of years, took some time off. And then in 2014, actually Easter of 2014, I was in my restaurant job and I just remember leaving my family that day, going to work, standing in the bar with no tables and just being like, why am I here? Why am I here? And why am I not with my family? And so I asked my manager, I said, hey, can I get cut? Can I get sent home? And he was like, no. And he was a good friend of mine. I legitimately thought he was joking. I was like, no, but really, like, I can go, right? And he's like, no, if you have nothing to do, you can go and clean the base of the bar. Mind you, this is not like a task that was something that we would normally do. Like, he meant like the part where people put their feet when they sit on the bar stools. Why that needed to be cleaned, especially on Easter, is absolutely beyond me. But I said, you're joking. Absolutely not. I just remember standing there with like a lump in my throat. I was holding back tears because I was just so frustrated, because I realized in that moment that my life was really not my own. I was still having to ask for permission to do what I wanted to do. And I am the type of person where I'm like, don't tell me what to do. Like, I will do what I want to do. So that was just not working for me. So I remember I just went in the bathroom and I just stood against the tile and I just like cried. And in that moment, I realized I was done. I was out. I was going to quit. And the reason that I was able to come to this conclusion and come to this moment of clarity was because over the 2-3 weeks before, I had just jumped back into network marketing. I started watching some webinars and some trainings and started learning a little bit more about online business at a deeper level. And I still have the piece of paper. On April 1st, 2014, I wrote down, I'm going to make $100,000 with digital products online.
Wow.
And I remember at that time when I wrote that down, I just felt like this total alignment with that number. It felt so easy. It felt possible. I was like, I got this. I only need to sell 100 of, this at this price. I can do that. I got this. I could do that. And so I was just this sweet, like, newbie entrepreneur, total ignorance on fire. And I remember I told my family, like, hey, I'm going to quit working at TGI Fridays. I'd been there for like 8 years. Like, I'm going to quit. And they were like, what? Why? They were so confused because I previously had only dabbled really in online business and I didn't have a track record of massive success. So they were kind of confused and concerned. My friends all of a sudden were like, why are you not coming out on weekends? Because I was working my butt off. I wasn't going out for drinks. People in the service industry have times like, we'll go out on Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. It's like drinks every night, karaoke every night. And I wasn't showing up and they didn't know where I was. It's because I was, on YouTube University, like just literally sitting on Google and YouTube and learning everything I could. And I remember also at the time I had a therapist and I told her like, yeah, I'm going to quit and I'm going to like do this online business thing. And I could just tell she was like an older woman. She didn't get it. And so, and I also told my manager when I went in to put in my 2 weeks and he, sat there like, oh yeah, I've been in this business and working for Fridays for 17 years. Like, I wish I could quit too. Like, that's a dream of mine. And then went on to be like, but don't you think you should like wait a little longer to save up some more money and, make sure your savings account is like really solid before you do this? Like, why don't you just stay through the summer? And I just had so many people trying to tell me not to pursue my dream and to stay in something that was supposed to be just a stepping stone. So it's like, why are so many people fighting for my smallness? It didn't make any sense to me. And it was a real challenge at the time. I was still living with my parents. So, having to now work from home and transition into that and have them, see me sitting behind a computer for hours a day. I mean, my dad will totally tell you now, He admits, he's like, I just didn't get it. He's like, I literally just thought you were wasting away your life behind a computer. So he used to be like really passive aggressive, give me a ton of shit for that. And now he sees what I've created, and he doesn't have words for it because he truly doesn't understand it still, but he just sees the impact that it's made and what we've like built and created. So I just share that because I want you guys to know that like the beginning isn't always easy. Like there are going to be people in your life who just don't get it. And so I was just sticking to my guns. There were so many days where I felt so insanely lonely. I had people in my life who were kind of like, success partners and things like that, but nobody really truly showed up with the hunger that I did, because I just like had to make this work. I didn't have a plan B. I wasn't pursuing theater anymore. And I remember having a moment being at TGI Fridays and recognizing I can if like there's no more school, there's no more training, there's no more bumper rails. Like, when you go bowling, there's like the little bumper rails. I'm like, there's no more bumper rails. Like I'm going to hit gutters if I don't figure my shit out. Like I'm either going to become a TGI lifer or I'm going to get my shit together. So it's all on my shoulders now. It's all up to me to figure this out. So I just became obsessed and addicted with my computer. Would, for real though, like work 14-hour days, looking things up online, trying to figure out how, like what resonates for people, like studying audience metrics. And it was just an obsession. And I did that for a couple of years, in network marketing, really started to grow that, had a lot of success, got some cool vacations, got the accolades and all that stuff, and kind of got lost in that just because it was there, it was convenient, and I needed to make some quick cash. And then, by the end of 2015 into 2016, I just realized that I had lost sight of that initial like 100K goal, creating my own products and programs. I just kind of got swept away. And I know a lot of people, whatever you're in, if it's network marketing, if it's your own thing, if it's a corporate job, like you have other people telling you what your milestones should be a lot of times, or you're like comparing yourself to somebody else. And so you shoot for something because you think it's cool or you think it'll be fun. And a lot of times we don't do that inner work to really check in and say, why do I want this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I unfortunately, like didn't really do that. And it was December 31st, 2015. And I was sitting at my computer hustling, trying to get those like last sales in before the end of the year to have like that perfect record, like according to whom. And I was like late to the party that I was supposed to go to. And I was talking to my now fiance, and he was like, yo, what time we going? What are you doing? We got to leave. And
clock's about to strike midnight.
Yeah, we're going to miss the ball drop. You're missing the whole party. Like, what's the deal, dude? Like, you work all the time. Now you have a party. And I realized that I left Fridays because I wanted to be present with my family on holidays and to make my own schedule. And now I was in network marketing. I had my own business, and I was missing out on parties and events because I recreated that for myself. And thankfully, that was a big shift for me. I was like, okay, I'm done. Like after this, I'm done.
Was that an aha moment?
It was a tough pill to swallow, but it was that moment of why am I even doing this? This is not fun anymore. Now it's just become this like anxiety producing thing. And I know I talked to so many people in network marketing, where they have those types of things where you get measured every single month based on points or based on like volume or whatever it is. And what tends to happen is you end up focusing on the small stuff, chasing these really small month-to-month goals. And if you're not close by like the 15th, panic ensues. Like you just all of a sudden start freaking out. Oh my God, I'm not there yet. I have no points. I have no volume. I haven't done this yet. I gotta like put pedals in the metal. And it really is just like such like not an enjoyable way to grow a business. And it's not, from now what I recognize, it's not a profitable way to grow a business, or it doesn't make sense. Like you feel like you're starting over every single month from scratch, and really being able to step away from that and make my own rules and create my own business. Like that was such a moment of tremendous freedom. And I know we'll talk a little bit about like pricing and stuff too, because that kind of goes into this.
At the time though, I know this about you, but like you were also in a law of attraction group, right?
I was. So
Well, I just quick question, like when you were going through all of this, but also I know that you've really studied law of attraction for a very long time as well. Did you feel like I'm sure like you felt out of alignment. Did you know how to apply it at that time to work for your life?
I was really starting to get to that place where I was recognizing that.
Yeah.
I first found this like law of attraction group on meetup.com when I broke my ankle in 2014. Cause I was like, it was like the winter time. I was like, I need to get out of the house. I need to do something positive. Like I am just working behind my computer 24/7. I was on crutches. I had a cast. I was in a like dark place. My fiance, he's an actor, so he was away. My best friend had just moved to LA. So I was like by myself on the couch, like couldn't really get around. And I was like, I just need to go like be around people who are like-minded. So I found this meetup group. And then by the end of 2015, I was a co-organizer of that group.
Wow.
And so it was really interesting to be around people. Like every Wednesday night we would meet, we would have these conversations. Somebody would have a book or come in with crystals or whatever. And it really was amazing to be coming in and practicing and discussing and like rewiring and reinforcing those beliefs just by having conversations with other people about the law of attraction and really understanding it and hearing their perspective and what they were manifesting on a deeper level. And so I have no doubts that, you know, the work that I was doing there was deeply informing the clarity that I got moving forward. And actually, funny enough, from that group, so the other woman, Helen, who I just forever will love, she came to me about February of 2016, earlier in that year, right when I was like, I'm done with network marketing. Like, what am I going to do? Or maybe she even came to me in December. She's like, I want you to be my social media coach. She's a life coach. She's like in her 60s. I was like, Helen, you're crazy. Like, what are you talking about? I don't do that. She's like, no, you don't understand. I'm going to pay you money. I would like for you to teach me how to use social media to grow my business. And after quite a bit back and forth, she's like, tell me what do you charge? I was like, let me get back to you. So I went home, I commented in some Facebook groups with entrepreneurs. I said, hey guys, like this woman wants me to be her social media coach, business coach. Should I charge like $30 an hour? Like, is that like the going rate? Because for me, I was teaching fitness classes, 4 fitness classes a week, and I was getting paid $30 to teach a class. So I thought that was like the best thing ever. Like, cool, $30 an hour, yes. Like I had to get my workout in and get paid.
Yep.
Like that was my mindset. And so I just figured, I could teach your business for $30 an hour. And people were like, are you insane? You need to charge at least $100 an hour, which is like funny now, but because I don't do hourly, it's like always a package. And so I went back to her. I said, okay, $100. And we would meet at Starbucks once a week, sometimes twice a week. She would write me a check for $100. And I was like, I'm rich. This is amazing.
Wow.
Like, I was killing it. And I remember one day I went home after having a really good coaching session with her. And I was supposed to have a call with one of the new people on my network marketing team. And I messaged her and I said, hey, we still on for, whatever it was, 2:00. Did you get done the 3 things? Like very simple, straightforward assignments. I said, did you get done the 3 things that I asked you to do? She said, no. I said, then we're not having this call because I'm literally just going to be repeating the same things from last time. So why don't you let me know when you're done with that and then we can book another call. And I never heard from her. So like to me, I just remember sitting there in that moment going, okay, so I need to just fully walk away from this because clearly like I was starting to recognize the power of
skin in the game
of like the transformation is in the transaction. Like people, when they pay attention. And I was realizing that because the people who had been on my network marketing team, they didn't really have much skin in the game. Like they had bought maybe something for $100 one time and I was coaching them forever. So I was, like many network marketers in a place where, I had my couple of core amazing people who I wished that I could just duplicate 100 of. But the majority of the people, especially who were on the team side, a lot of them was, dragging and following up and feeling like I'm chasing them because it just wasn't their number one priority because they weren't entrepreneurs. And I was in a place where I was getting into email marketing and landing pages, and I was doing way higher level business stuff in my own network marketing business. And the people that I was bringing on to the network marketing team were such newbies. They needed a lot of mindset work. They needed a lot of the basics. And I just wasn't passionate about teaching the basics over and over and over again. I wanted people who wanted to run with me, who wanted to learn and implement higher level stuff. And so after I got that very first client, I then started I put together a $3,000 package. A couple months later, I was like, all right, we're doing this. I quit network marketing, and I signed some amazing clients, and they were people like the first client I had. She was a top person in Younique, and she had been doing some similar business trainings, and she needed help, you know, on the tech side of things and putting together landing pages, which today it's so much easier to put that stuff together. But at the time, you know, it's 2016, 3 years ago, you know, it was a little bit more complicated, and there was not as much training out there about how to do that. So I was helping her set that up and helping her with her messaging, and, you know, her business like completely transformed. Another girl who had also been in network marketing wanted to create her own kind of coaching thing on the side. You know, we started working on similar things, and it was just really amazing to see how these women showed up so differently, because we weren't working on the basics. Like, they were already entrepreneurs. They wanted to be entrepreneurs. They were all in. They were serious about what they were building.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That your story is just, it's so incredible and it's so relatable. And I know all of you are listening right now and you can see yourself in Jen's story. Like I know it. Like, it's just, it's so amazing to see like how you got from, you know, point A to point B. And it's just like, what I wrote down was you just decided to be all in.
Mm-hmm.
You decided to be all in with what you wanted to create. And then there were some things that got you off the path. And then things brought you back to like your original intention of being all in, of what you really wanted and why you really wanted it. And that's just a really important note. And something I want to ask you is when you started putting yourself out there, like initially as a business coach, like after you started working as a coach for the Helen, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the Law of Attraction group, what was your step? Like, did you create a website first? Like, how did you attract a $3,000 client? What did you create something to pull her in? Like, what was it?
So I did have a website, but that was not what pulled, actually, a lot of you guys know Lauren Liz Love from Badass Business Babe. Her and I have been longtime friends. And so we were having like weekly mastermind calls at that time. And I had to strengthen social media marketing. She was really good at like building blogs and websites. So she was helping me build this like totally new website. That was when I was switching away from like my business, Instagram handle and my fitness. I was like Dare to Push Fitness or something. And so that was my website. That was my handle. That was my entire brand. And so I completely pivoted and, you know, basically started over from scratch. But weirdly enough, like the universe just showed up for me with all of those clients. Like there was very little effort in me signing them. So one of the first clients who I still, I just love this story. I still work with her to this day, 3 years later, right? We had been in the same like kind of online course, and I had posted in there about this technology called LiveLeap, which at the time it was like Facebook Live had just come out. And this technology, when you went on live on your business page, it would auto share it into your Facebook group, onto your regular page, which was an awesome thing, so that you didn't have to sit there and manually do it and like be looking down at your computer and typing for the first 5 minutes of your video. So you would get more views and stuff. So they were having like all these issues. They just exploded. They didn't have the customer support. They had all these affiliate things, and they were just a hot mess. And so one of my very first clients, she reached out to me and she said, "Hey, I saw you post in this LiveLeap group, complaining and asking them like, what the hell's going on? I saw you also just did this business program that I did," and just like literally reached out to me, just asking me about LiveLeap. And then she was like, "Well, what do you do?" And I told her what I did. I said, "What do you do?" She filled me in. She's like, "I think I need you. I think I need to hire you." And I was like, "Okay, let's hop on a discovery call." And yeah, she signed up for a $3,000 package like on that call. And, you know, we worked together one-on-one. She did my coaching group. You know, we worked together for a while there. And then in the last year, we've always stayed in contact, just because like, she's just one of my people. Like, she's like my lifer, you know, like she's a good friend as well. And like recently we reconnected, we started working together one-on-one again. And she's like, "I love you so much. Like, I can't believe that," you know, it's like, but like I manifested her, like, she's like my person. And like, we just did a coaching group. She was in that. So it's just like super cool to see, like, we were all growing together. And then another woman had reached out. I remember I was trying to teach live video at that time, because I was like, all right, I have an acting background. I did theater. I have voice training for, you know, weekly one-on-one voice training for like 10 plus years. Like, I'm going to bring a new angle to teaching video that entrepreneurs are not seeing. And so I did this like 5-day beta course and like a bunch of people joined. They loved it. I got awesome feedback. And then this woman reached out and she said, hey, I saw you post about that, your live video thing. Is it too late to join? I said, yeah, we just ended, but like, tell me more about like what made you want to join? Like, what are you working on? And so she started like talking to me about her business. And I said, oh, well, you know, I can help you with all of those things as well. And she's like, really? I thought you only did video. And I was like, no, that's power of having a niche. Got her in the door and then was able to like show her the whole menu. We'll talk more about that later. Yeah. And so then she became my second one-on-one client and paid me another $3,000. You know what I mean? So it was like, those things just started happening where people randomly started reaching out. Another woman, I had done a group coaching program that I couldn't afford, quote unquote, back in that February where I was like transitioning, didn't have revenue coming in. And it was Jen Sincero's last time that she was running this like group coaching program. It was like $500. I was like, oh, I was that person that signed up at like $11.59 because I was just like on the fence. Like, I want to do this. What do? I can't afford it. Blah, blah, blah. So I joined. It was amazing. And then my third client was from that group. She's like, I've been following you, seeing what you've been doing, seeing how you've transitioned. I need help. So it was just like, because I was consistently showing up, I made a decision, like the universe just showed up for me and put me in the path of the people who I aligned with vibrationally.
Well, isn't that interesting?
There's no other way to explain it, right?
No, and it's just so important for you all to know that it's not about your background or how much you know or how much you don't know, or even the tools, which we'll get into. I think I want to touch on that with you too, of like what it is you can help people with. It's really about being all in, being consistent, like Jen said, and showing the F up. And like, you did that. And you said, I manifested this client. Like, and I believe that. And I teach that. It's like, you're manifesting your clients, or you're not, or you're repelling them. And I think it's important to kind of also dive into the other end of that, because it's not easy for everyone. Most people start their businesses and they, you know, aren't seeing the results that they want, or they, you know, are thinking that they're doing something wrong constantly, which I think is also repelling the clients. But what do you say to those people? What do you think the mistakes are that they might be making to not attract their ideal clients, or not attract clients at all?
Well, I think the first thing that we can totally like unbox is the idea that they're making a mistake.
Yeah, totally.
Like, the belief that you're making a mistake because you haven't gotten a client yet is exactly why you haven't gotten a client yet. Like, if you're constantly looking at that so-and-so has this, I haven't done that yet, so I'm somehow not qualified to get the clients or have the success.
Or I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough. Yeah. I mean, there's so many legs and layers to this, but even just like, I see so many people who are newer to the online space, and I'll ask them like, okay, well, what do you want to create? Like, how many clients do you want to have? And they're just like, not in a space where they believe they're worthy of having clients, because they're like, well, in order to have clients, like, I'm just not ready yet. I'm like, okay, well, how would you know if you were ready to have clients? Well, I would need to have testimonials. Okay. How many testimonials? At least 3. Like, these are people we make this shit up in our own heads. I'm like, okay, you need 3 clients, and do these testimonials need to say anything specific about you? Yeah. Okay. What do they need to say? And they'll be like, well, they need to say that, you know, I helped them achieve this result. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think that's a really good thing to be able to have testimonials and be able to verify that you do know what you're doing. That's most definitely helpful. But I just want to offer this so that you guys can start looking at the beliefs that you are using to filter what's possible. Like, what if you didn't need to have any testimonials?
Oh, that is so good. Look at the beliefs that you are filtering. What was the second part?
Like, what did I say? Just like, look at like, what are your biases? Like, what are the beliefs that you have that you're filtering your ability to succeed through those beliefs, and therefore creating a limitation or a box around what's possible.
Whoa.
What?
I think that's like so powerful. And I think that that's what you did in the beginning, was like, you had this unconscious competence.
Yes, 1,000%.
And can you just explain, because Jen is a master NLP.
Yeah.
We're both master NLP practitioners, and Jen is like a ninja at it. So just explain what unconscious competence is.
Yes. So whenever we start something new, we have what's unconscious, meaning you're not consciously aware of it. Well, first you have, there's different stages, but essentially unconscious competence is when you get to a place where, like, let's say you learn how to drive a car. If you had to teach somebody right now how to drive a car, you would have to take a moment and be like, wait, what do I do? Oh, right, I turn on my blinker. So that's unconscious competence. I would say at this point, I had I was still working towards that. I would say to add to this, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Dunning-Kruger effect, but this is really powerful, and it's definitely explained, I would say, a little bit easier if you see the visual, but for visual people, I'm going to explain this as best I can. So I want you to imagine a chart, and on the y-axis, the long axis, is confidence, and on the bottom is competence. So it works like this. When someone first steps into learning about a topic, they have a lot of confidence because they don't yet know what they don't know. And this is kind of like that ignorance on fire stage. They don't know all the things that are coming at them, so they can just jump, which is totally where I was in the beginning. I had a good amount of ignorance on fire. So they are less qualified still at the beginning, ignorance on fire stage. They're so new that they don't yet recognize the depth and the breadth of the topic. So they're confident about it. Now, over time, as they start to learn more, get into it more, they're like, whoa, this is way bigger than I thought. So their competence increases because they're more well-read, they're more studied, but their confidence decreases because they realize, okay, now I can see, now I know that there's a lot that I don't know. So they become aware. Before they were like, they didn't know what they didn't know. So they're like, la, 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 like skipping through a field of daisies, not realizing there's like bombs underneath, right? Well, now they're like, okay, I recognize that there's a hole that I'm just scratching the surface. So, that I think that's really the key point here of when we first start something, we're really confident. As we start to learn about it, our confidence decreases. So if you imagine like a U, at the beginning, you're up top, you have high confidence, low confidence. You go down to the dip, and this is where you become knowledge on ice.
Oh,
like information paralysis, overwhelm, start looking around and saying, look at all the market's too saturated. Everybody else has already done this before.
I need to listen to more podcasts.
Yeah, I have to learn more. Like somebody give me an IV of knowledge and information. Like it's my crack. I just need to keep learning. And I think those people, I see a lot of very talented, very intelligent entrepreneurs who are well-read in their topic getting stuck at the bottom of this U, in this dip, because they are inundating their subconscious mind with all these other people's ideas, all these other thought leaders, trainings and different things. And so they've really like muddied their own perspective because now they're taking on too much. Like if you think about a boat, they've taken on too much water. Now they're starting to sink a little bit. Yeah. They're like, they can't think for themselves. They can't process information at the highest level because they're just inundated with other people's stuff. So over time, so I will say this is the area, this bottom of the U, knowledge on ice, where most people get stuck or give up. Maybe they go, I'm actually going to change my niche. I'm going to do something else. Why? Because they're going to go back to a new topic, feel confident again, and they're going to get that little dopamine hit. I feel confident again. Look at me. Look what I'm doing. This is going to be great. And I've seen a lot of people do this with like network marketing companies where they jump from company to company to company, thinking that it's the company that's not allowing them to have success, but they have not yet looked at their beliefs, and that's what's actually stopping them from having success. Or like even clients of mine, they'll jump around and they'll be like, I want to do health and fitness. Okay, I'm kind of getting bored of health and fitness. I'm going to do mindset. Oh wait, that's not working. Okay, I'm going to teach business. And they're just jumping around from all these different things. And I get it because they're learning and growing themselves and they're trying to find themselves. So I want to encourage you guys, like, yes, you want to find your own voice. Like I've had many evolutions. I did network marketing. I was in health and fitness. I was like the go-to person for group fitness. I was like, love talking about nutrition. And I really got tired of that. And I gave myself that permission and that grace to say, I'm done with that phase. I want to move into this. This is what's really lighting me on fire. Now, I think that's an important thing to highlight because I know there's somebody who's sitting here going, well, how do you know if it's time to move on or if you need to stick it out because you're just stuck at the bottom of the U? And what I would say is that is like, you will know. Mm-hmm. You will know. You will feel it 100%. Like I was scared to jump into business coaching, but I knew in my gut that was the thing that I was like, I could not stop consuming it. And your audience will come with you or they won't. It doesn't matter. You just have to trust your gut and test it. And if it doesn't work, you can always go back. Like, forget what other people think. No one's going to think you're flaky or whatever. Like, the reason people are not doing what they want to do is because they're afraid other people are judging them.
Mm-hmm.
So like, are you living your life for you? Or are you living your life for the possibility that other people might not agree with your choices?
Wow.
Like,
I would journal on that, you guys. Like,
yeah.
Actually do the work around that, because I know there's a lot of people that are stuck in living for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I was that person too. You were that person. We were all once that person until we're like, screw this. I'm here. Even if we live more than one time, I always say this, like YOLO, right? But we're here now and we got to make the most of it. And we got to make our mark on the world. We're here for a reason.
Hails, yes.
Yeah.
And just to add to some of the Dunning-Kruger effect, for a lot of people, they're in that knowledge on ice phase of their business. And that's the time where, like I said, a lot of people want to give up and start something new. They are like, oh, I'm just a creative entrepreneur. I'm just going to go do something new. And that's why most people's businesses never get off the ground. Mm-hmm. Like, you've got to be willing to sit in the discomfort of not having the answers, of not having the result right now. You've got to be able to sit and do the unsexy, mundane stuff, because that is part of the journey to getting what you want. Like, not everything's going to be the most fun thing. Now, you can choose to and decide that you're going to make things fun, even if they're not fun on their own. I know you do a great job of that. You make everything a party, you make everything game, like everything's fun, because you choose to see the world that way, no matter what the task is. So you guys can choose to adopt that point of view. It's going to make your life a lot more enjoyable, but you can also choose to continue as you're going. So, but it's funny because a lot of the times the higher level leaders who have been in their area of expertise for a long time or a sizable length of time, who might be kind of at that lower dip of that who serve from a place of integrity, they tend to be some of the people who experience the highest levels of imposter syndrome. Because they are working towards the highest levels of mastery. And so they're so immersed in their topic and often surrounded by peers and other people in that niche. And so they develop a bias that everybody knows what they know.
Whoa.
And I talk about this even with like the Facebook algorithm. If you are, I actually have one client, she transitioned out of working with toddler moms on an organization and was like, oh my gosh, how did I not realize this? Like, I was an editor in college. Like, I've always loved editing. And she launched a podcast agency, and like literally her business has just skyrocketed. For her, she's like, it's so funny though, because she's like, as soon as I stepped into doing, podcast management, prior to that, she wasn't talking about it. She wasn't researching it. So she never saw anything about podcast management. So she thought, like, this is not that she thought it was a totally original idea, but she was like, oh, there's nobody doing this. Like, this is so needed. And it still is, because it's not a very saturated area. But as soon as she started doing research on it, getting agency clients, building her agency, now she gets retarget ads for podcast management, for different systems and softwares. And now she sees it. One, because in the brain, we have something called the reticular activating system that's filtering our world based on our beliefs, preferences, values, identity, all the things, and things that we've been thinking about. And then also the Facebook algorithm, like basically the reticular activating system is like the Facebook algorithm, is like the algorithm of your brain.
I was just thinking that.
Were you really?
Yes. How like the Facebook, like the way that you see all the ads pop up, like I was on some random ass website, and then all of a sudden, of course, like on Facebook, and there it is. And that's exactly how REC, or law of attraction, works too.
Yep. So it's all connected. So it's just a really fascinating thing to start to look at. A lot of people are saying, oh, I'm not ready yet. I'm an imposter. What if somebody else already has this created? And like, even if you identify at the bottom of this dip, in this place where you're knowledge on ice, and you might not yet be at the world-class level, you're probably working towards that. Like, you don't need to wait to put yourself out there as a coach, or put yourself out there to create a course, because you can help thousands upon thousands of people getting started with those first few stages. And like, how many people do you really need in order to make a 6-figure business, right? Like, you don't need that many people. So like, I want you to think about this too. If all the qualified people bench themselves and don't put stuff out there because they feel like they're not expert enough. But all the newbies step up and start teaching because their ignorance on fire. Do you see how that's doing a huge disservice to you, to your audience, and to your area of expertise? Yeah. So like, is you're kicking the butt to like show up and not hold on to that belief because it's not serving you or anyone else.
Especially anyone else.
Yeah.
100%. Wow. So powerful. So many nuggets in there. Like there's so much to unpack there. And I want to also acknowledge that what you said about like, you know, those first initial steps of putting yourself out there. What would you say to someone who maybe wants to put themselves out there as a coach or wants to be an online entrepreneur or any of it? What would you say is the first step?
The first step, I mean, the only step is to just do it.
Yeah.
Like we can sit in information paralysis and try to perfect things with the quote unquote right strategy or the perfect graphic or the most beautiful set or the best audio or the best lighting. But at the end of the day, people don't care that much about that stuff. Like that can come later.
I mean, trust me, I've taken some low budget courses, like, or it was a high ticket item, but the content and the way it was presented was a lower budget, but I didn't care.
Because you were like, I just need the solution. I don't care how it's delivered. Like, give me the answer.
Exactly. I used to think everything had to be perfect too. And then I was like, oh, I see other people that aren't perfect. That gave me such a permission slip. Mm-hmm. But I just remember when I decided to put myself out there as a coach, I was freaking terrified. But the first thing that I did, like there's no one first step is the answer. Yeah. It's really the answer. First thing that I did was I literally made a Facebook post and I was like, I'm a coach
announcing.
Now. Surprise. Yeah, it was like my big announcement. And that was that was an energetic shift for me because I was so scared to do that. It doesn't mean that's going to work for you. It just means I had to break through what was holding me back because I know that there's so many entrepreneurs that are sitting on the fence, like you said, that are so talented and they're just sitting there and they're just waiting because they don't know when the right time is and they don't know what to do. But the truth is that there's literally not an answer. Mm-hmm. And it goes back to thinking that it's the belief that you're going to make a mistake.
Yes. I mean,
and here's the deal. You're going to make a lot of freaking mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. And
there's that whole idea of like fail faster. Like if you want to have success, fail faster.
And I'm really I'm getting more comfortable with that.
Yeah.
I'm getting more comfortable with that. And it's, it's uncomfortable. Like you said, you got to sit in the discomfort, but being an entrepreneur, and I think you would agree with this, it's not for the faint of heart. It's really not. You actually posted that the other day and I was like, yeah.
You've got to, I think really what it comes down to, because like when I first came into entrepreneurship, I was like, okay, like I was an actor. So I hear no all the time. Like I would be walking into rooms, bearing my soul, which my singing voice is like one of the most vulnerable things for me, even still. So like being up in front of somebody and singing and then being like, no, you're too short. You're not skinny enough. Your hair's too brown. Like whatever. Like it's just, you can get picked apart physically and then whatever song, oh, you didn't pick the right song. You didn't do the right cut. We needed to hear you sing higher or lower or faster or slower. Like there's so many things. So like when I came into entrepreneurship, I actually like I already had pretty thick skin from that, and hearing no through a DM is way easier than standing in front of a room of 3 people who won't even look up from their phones. Wow. When you've literally been sitting around for 6 hours just to sing a 16-bar cut for them. It's like such a freaking blow to the gut being an actor. Like being an actor is great, but auditioning freaking sucks. Like it straight up sucks.
I think like that's really, really important what you just said. And I can agree with that because from my past of going on auditions for, modeling back in the day and like hearing the same thing. And it's like, based on what you look like, it really did it thickened my skin. Mm-hmm. It really, really did. And
you just kind of get used to it. Like you get immune to hearing no.
And I think that is important in entrepreneurship because it's not personal.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not personal. It's not personal when they say no when you're an actor, or I mean, it can feel personal and we can make it personal. But the truth is like I believe everything is happening for you. And I know you believe that too. It's like, it's all working out and it's all working itself out. And all those no's that you heard back in the day are like, have literally led you to this point.
Yeah. And I'm like, now I can be really grateful for that experience and for those things. And I mean, you said something before about like being ready and like, how do you know something is ready? And I think one thing that I've really locked into recently is this idea that ready is an illusion. Ready is an emotional state.
Wow.
So that's something that's actually fleeting for most people because they don't know how to control their state or manage their state. And so it's like when people are like, I want to lose weight, and they're going to rely on motivation. Like when I feel motivated, I'll work out. Well, you might feel motivated for the first 2 days, but chances are there's going to be a morning where you wake up and you don't feel like it. So are you willing to put everything in your business on the idea of feeling ready or motivated or whatever it is, or which like I said is an emotional state? Or are you willing to maybe reframe that and consider that instead of feeling ready, which is an illusion, what if you just said, I am committed to my business? I am disciplined, because that's a behavior. And so if you decide I am committed to show up for my business, then it becomes I show up no matter what the state is. I'm committed regardless if I feel ready. If I feel ready, that's a bonus. I show up committed whether it's raining, whether I have period cramps, whether I have a giant zit on my nose, whether my hair is frizzy today, like it doesn't matter. Like you show up because you're committed. And guess what? When you show up in that way, your audience can feel vibrationally, you have a certain level of electricity, and people want to follow someone that is committed, because most people don't know how to be committed because they're relying on being ready. So when you show up as a leader who's committed, people want to follow you because they're like, give me some of that. Give me some of that. How do you do it? How do you get yourself mentally to that place?
Wow. I am like, that is like literally mind blown. Illusion. And Jen and I recently went on a girls' trip, and something that you said when we were on that trip was about magnetic leadership. And I feel like this is connected. Would you agree?
I do agree. So we were on our girls' trip, and we were doing a lot of like amazing inner work and like some deep, deep meditations. And one day I was like, okay, I'm just going to like really breathe deeply, go into this meditation. And I kept seeing my little niece's face. Was 8 months old at the time. Like literally I'm obsessed with her. And kept seeing her face. I'm like, okay, well, this is nice. This is making me happy because I love her little face. And then I heard a voice that just said, she is your teacher. She is your teacher. And I kind of sat with that. And then some other things came through. And so after the meditation, I was really sitting, I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean, she is your teacher? And I realized that whenever we're all together as a family, everybody wants to be around this baby. Now, I'm a little biased because she's my niece, but I'm just like, there's no babies like her ever. Like, she is just the most sensational baby. But she really is pretty incredible. Like, she's just like chill. She's adorable. And she just really connects with whoever she's with, like on a very deep level. She'll like look at you in the eyes and just like study your face. She's really like, I think babies and animals are fascinating in that way. They really teach us how to be present. But I recognize specifically with her that she's so chill. Like, my family passes her around. And for all of us, whenever she's around, all of us are doing one of three things. We are either holding her, standing next to the person holding her, waiting for a moment or a dip where we can just kind of like casually swipe in and be like, oh, I'll take her.
Yeah.
She's fuzzy here. Why don't you come to me? Or the third thing is you just got your turn and you're standing in the corner of the room, like kind of just like half paying attention to whoever you're talking to because you want to clock where the baby is so that you can go hold her again. So like, this is how the family dynamic goes. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, that's pretty impressive. And I love Tony Robbins. I've studied some really big movers and shakers and thinkers. And I was like, whoa, this baby has that level of magnetism where no one can take their eyes off of her. no matter where she goes in the room, we all know where she is. And I thought, whoa, that right there, the ability to captivate people and hold their attention, that is magnetic leadership. And I shared this with someone and they're like, well, that's not impressive. She's a baby. She hasn't yet had life happen to her. And so of course she could be, present and non-judgmental and vibrant and playful and just be in the moment. And I was like, okay, that's fair. But babies are teaching us how to get back to that. But then I was like, you know what? Tony Robbins is a perfect example. I've been to many of his events. I know you have as well. And especially when I went to Unleash the Power Within in New York City, they do it at the Prudential Center and it holds about 15,000 people. Guys, that's a lot of freaking people.
Yeah,
it's like pretty incredible to be in that arena with Tony and some of his people who also co-lead. But it's amazing to watch because he has other people that he works with and they're incredible speakers. I mean, they can really captivate the room. But when Tony steps out on stage, people listen and respond in a very different way. Like, it's a subtle difference. Like, the other people are world class. His other trainers and speakers, world class, like the best of the best. But when he steps out on stage, there's an energetic connection in the room that is so palpable and so powerful, where it's like we are all one. Like, everybody is there, laser focused, connected. And, you and I both have been to his events, and I had gone to UPW in the past, loved it for the content and the experience. And when I went back the second time, I realized that a lot of the stuff he teaches is very much based in NLP, which is a fascinating realization, to see how close it was to the things that we do and teach.
Yeah.
But I was really able to appreciate it on so many other levels. And specifically it was that level of magnetic leadership, of how he is just so powerful and can command that room of 15,000 people. And he'll say, because I've gone to several of his events, so he'll say, if I was not 1000% present with you guys, if I had some other thought in my head, if I was thinking about what I was going to talk about next, he's like, I would lose you. I would lose you in a second. And I just thought, like, when I had that realization with my niece and all this coming together, I was like, whoa, okay, that is the essence of what makes some people really successful and other people struggling year after year after year. And I'm sure you've talked about this before. It's kind of like, the be, do, have model. A lot of people are approaching life, success, business from reverse. They're like, well, when I have the clients, then I'll do the live videos because I'll be qualified. And then I'll have the successful business. Yeah. But that's not how it works. You need to first act as if, which is a manifestation principle, be that person. Then from that state of being, of high vibration, do whatever that activity is or that thing is, showing up on live, reaching out, doing a sales call, like you said, and then you'll have the result.
Being committed.
Yes. When you decide that you're committed, like you said before, like, it's all just a decision. And I noticed this in myself, and my business had a quantum leap when I transitioned into business coaching. And I really struggled because people were like, well, how'd you do it? And it wasn't really something that it wasn't a strategy that I could teach. It was one of those like intangibles. It's like, when you see somebody on Broadway, you're like, wow, they have star quality. Well, now I've kind of been able to look at all of the different areas of my life of like, well, how is it that those people are having quantum leaps? What is that star quality? How do we like dissect that and package that and teach that? Because if we could help our clients with that, I mean, the impact on the world would be just, beyond amazing. And I truly believe it comes down to this idea of magnetic leadership. Like, I feel like at least in my brain, I've drilled it down to a place where I'm like, I think I can like figure out how to access that. And I found an entry point for entering into that state of being, like, one, by being committed, two, by like literally just working on your vibration. And it's funny because talking about the be, do, have model, I noticed in myself, this was probably in like 2017, I was learning about the be, do, have model. I was trying to live it like, okay, like, I am wealthy, I am this, I am that, like giving myself the affirmations and then doing the work from that state and then having the great things. And so I went to an event and I was in the airport. It was like 5:00 in the morning. Obviously I was not in a peak state. And the ticket thing was like, do you want to upgrade to first class? And just out of habit, I said no. And it it would have been like $150 something. And I was like 3 steps away from like the little kiosk, and I just went, damn it. Damn it, Jen. Okay, thank you, universe. Lesson learned. Got it. So I was like, okay, I literally just was in my head. The dialogue was, I don't really need to do this. I will wait till after the event. Maybe I'll get this on the way home. This is not a practical decision. And I really started noticing in going to that event how I thought I was showing up from be, do, have, but I actually had been showing up do, be, have, which no one really talks about. I was trying to work and hustle my way into a state of being, which does not work.
No.
And you have the adverse effect, like the opposite, where I was like, let me show up for 14 hours a day and work. And then I will feel like I'm good enough, or I will be the leader that I believe I'm supposed to be. And then I'll have the thing that I want to have. And that was a powerful realization for me, because I know a lot of you guys listening are probably in that space where you're like, well, I'm being a leader because look at all the work I'm doing.
So true. It's so easy to fall into that trap too.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my God, there's just so much to go back to. There's so much. It's too good. It's too good. I was going to say before that when you're in that state of being committed and making that decision and being all in and showing up, I also think that the difference between being magnetic versus, I don't know, what would you say the opposite end of the spectrum is? Repellent?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is really, I think people get so caught up in their head,
mm-hmm.
and they're so caught up in like, how do I look? How do I sound? Am I doing it right? Like all those internal doubts
mm-hmm.
that they're missing coming from their heart and being present.
Yes.
When I was in my yoga training teaching, and I know you have this experience from, group fitness, is the teacher would give me feedback and say, come out here with your people. Come out here and teach to this person specifically out here in the room. And that translates directly online too. It's like connecting with that ideal person that you want to connect with, that you can serve. And it's the same principle. And it's like when I was in my head thinking about what pose was next, or how my voice was sounding as I was teaching the class, because I used to always think about what my voice sounded like. I was so insecure about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was literally blocking me from actually connecting. And I think creating that connection is what creates the magnetism.
Mm-hmm. And it all comes back to like being present in the moment. Like
Yeah.
if you have an inner dialogue, an inner monologue, like a Woody Allen, like you're not, like you're not going to be able to connect. And it's so funny you say that about the yoga training, because coming from the acting world, when you're on stage with someone in a show and you're having a scene, yeah, there are times as an actor where you get distracted and you get in your head and you're like, what, did I just say the right line? What did he just say? Oh my God. And you like will have a moment where you blank, or a moment where you are not really listening to the other person that you're speaking to on stage. And so you're like, what did I just do with my hand? Where's my hand? Why is my hand on my hip? I'm making a weird pose. This is weird. I should put my arm down. Okay, this is unnatural. I'm going to stand like this. Do I really stand with my arm straight out? Like when you're an actor, like you literally have to relearn how to be a human. Like if I asked you guys right now to like mime and pretend that you were brushing your teeth or like eating something, you would find it bizarre, because you're like, wait, how do I hold a fork? Like like if you were just like, I don't know, like, is there space? Do I put my finger out and my hand cupped? Like you literally don't know, because you were talking about before, like unconscious competence, like we're just doing stuff on autopilot. It's like in our bodies, but we're not saying, I now pick up fork, or like put car in drive.
Automatic.
Yeah, it's automatic. So when you're performing on stage, or when you're speaking, or when you're on a live video, the thing that you need to do if you're getting in your head is just drop back into your body, breathe, and connect with the other person and listen. Like that is literally what it's about. It's about connecting with the person that you're having a conversation with. And then, and one of the things they say is like, if you're feeling self-conscious, just throw your attention onto them.
Yes.
Make it about them in your head, and you're back in.
And in yoga, they say when you get nervous, focus on service.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. It's so parallel. And on that note, when you are, I used to say this all the time, when you're in your head, you're dead. When you're in your heart,
yep.
Right? But I had another thought there too. It'll come back to me. But it's amazing what happens Oh, listening. When you actually listen, and if you are a coach or a network marketer and you have a team, wherever you are in your journey, or you're just, wanting to deepen your relationships in your life, just listen. Just listen and actually hear word for word what people are saying. And all the right questions and answers will come to you when you come from a place of pure listening.
Mm-hmm.
It's so powerful. Wow, you are amazing in every way. I'm so
You're
proud
amazing
of
in
you.
every way.
Love you.
Love you.
Oh, you guys, we didn't share this, but we have another episode together from, I don't know, earlier last year.
It was like October of last year.
Yeah. Jen and I met on Instagram. We took our NLP training together. First, it's so funny because I was fairly newbie at our first training together.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it was like so crazy that we met on Instagram, but like everyone meets on Instagram now. It's funny. But yeah, it was a cool story. And then,
we didn't even talk about how we I feel like I manifested you. You we manifested each other. Like,
and then we did our master pack together and we led breakthrough days on each other. And it was life-changing for both of us. And we just have this connection that I'm just so grateful for.
I'm so grateful for it. And I want to say this, like, you are like just such an amazing coach, and like talking about like listening and being present. Like when we did our breakthrough day, like you seriously gave me so many breakthroughs, and we're just so insanely present, so positive. Just like you are such a powerful listener, and you hold space in such a beautiful way where I felt so insanely safe. And I'm somebody that, like, real talk, I'm not like the type of person that's like gonna just sit down with any coach and let them kind of rearrange my thoughts. But I was just like, give me everything. Like, here's all my shit. Here's all the stuff I need to reframe and work on and let go of. And you were just like such a beautiful, like non-judgmental energy of just true magnetic leadership.
You did the same for me. And I'm changed from that day. Like,
me
really,
too.
really, truly. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And I'll link up in the show notes if you guys are interested in NLP, where you can learn more about the programs that we've taken that have really taken us, I would say both of us, to a whole nother level in our life and business.
Yep. I mean, the program's amazing. And I think going through it together, like really just amplified it times 10. Like it would have been amazing by itself. So like you guys should totally check it out. And if you can connect with some people, and so many of our friends and clients are going through that training now too. I know a whole group of like 6 or 7 people are going hanging out together in Cali in this October. Cool. So it's really cool to see. So if you guys are,
it was funny because in the beginning we were like, I don't know if we should do the breakthrough day on each other. And then towards the end of the 2 weeks, or even just the end of the first week, we were like, we're definitely going
to partner up. Yeah.
It was so cool. It was so cool.
Yeah, so good.
Oh my gosh. So thank you for everything in this episode. I know you guys are just like, you don't even know what just hit you. And that's what we want to do here. Like, this is all about bringing on people that can change your life. So thank you for sharing everything. And I have to ask you, what makes you a badass manifester?
What makes me a badass manifester? I think recently, this is not necessarily a direct answer to the question, but I will say recently I was looking at different relationships in my life and the people that I've met over the last couple of years. And I literally looked at my fiance and I said, because I have Ashley in my life now, like, I know, like, that is evidence to me that I have like quantum leaped to a completely different vibration in the people that I attract into my life. So
I love you.
I love you. So like, I am badass manifester because of all the things that I am calling in.
Yeah.
And the people that I have been aligning with, and they're amazing manifestors. So I know we wouldn't be connecting. And
yeah, right.
If I wasn't also in that same
bucket.
Yeah.
I think about that all the time, just like how we manifested the trip to Austin and, with Catherine and Lauren and Stephanie. And I was just like, wow, like, we're all on the same vibe. This is like really amazing. It's amazing.
And it's beautiful because I think sometimes I can get in my own way and be like, oh, well, like, I'm not doing enough or blah, blah, blah. Like we all do. And then I can look at you guys and be like, oh, well, those are my people. So like, apparently I am flying on that same disc as them.
I'm so with you. So with you on that. So with you on that. So good. So everyone, go find Jen online if you haven't already. Where can they find you?
You can find me on all social media platforms at Hey Jen Casey and website heyjencasey.com, and also my podcast, which actually we have an episode. Well, I don't know when this is airing, but you're going to be going out next week. I'm really excited for people to hear your episode because it's so freaking good. So that's the Inner Boss podcast. So you can go to heyjencasey.com/podcast.
We'll link it all up for you down below. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I hope you love that. I know that I had so much fun recording this episode with Jen. And just as your reminder, the cart's only open for a week. So make sure that you get your spot in Programs That Profit, and tag Jen and I and let us know that you enrolled. I'll be in there, and I'm also a guest expert in the program. So, woo! So excited, and I will see you guys in there. Thank you so much for listening to the Badass Manifestor podcast. I love manifesting Mondays with you, and there's so much more in store right here. The best way to manifest love is to give love. If you loved what you heard today, subscribe to the Badass Manifestor podcast. Leave a review on iTunes. Let me know how much you dig the energy here. All of my social is linked up in the show notes, so screenshot this episode, tag me on Instagram, and let me be part of your real-time journey. For more info on me, feel free to go to my website, manifestwithash.com. Repeat after me. I am my own power source. I am the master of my energy, and I deserve everything that I desire. Go get 'em.